Hello, how's everyone? Welcome to Precision Part 2. This one is going to be, I think I have to number them. I don't think so. I may have to number them. I may have to do Part 2, 1, Part 2, 2, Part 2, 3. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. But it's Precision Part 2. And this one is going to be on your personal coordinates and moving inside the square root of 5. I use the number for a reason. Okay, we don't use numbers, but I'll use numbers when it doesn't have anything to do with counting or something like that. And in actuality, you have to use numbers in order to communicate a lot of things. The only reason why I don't use numbers in the class, and I try not to, is to get you a way to think differently. However, when you think differently, you can translate what you learned into numbers, into regular numbers. If it wasn't for algebra, if it wasn't for regular mathematics and everything, that's what I worked everything on. I wouldn't be able to communicate to myself to come up with something else new. And when you come up with something else new, you pretty much have to know what's out there. You have to start from somewhere because you want to teach it to other people. So in order to communicate it, you do have to communicate it with things that already exist. Okay, so I'm not against numbers that we use that I grew up with. It's only to get you thinking differently. So, like I said, this class is gonna be on moving. Okay, no, let me say your personal coordinates, and also moving inside square root of 5. Okay, so let's start with something before we get. Oh, I guess we want to start with your personal coordinates. Um, Remember the retrocé? Okay, and that's a French word. I have to say I don't want to review everything, but I did explain why I use certain terms. But however, retrocé, I'm going to refresh your memory because it's so different. It's in French. It means like the first floor, okay, the first level, or like a lobby or something like that. I was going to get the spelling of it. Next time I'll try and get the spelling of it. So because I'm most likely pronouncing it wrong. But anyways, the retrocé, okay. If you're familiar with languages, I'm sure you could find it, but it's the retrocé. Um, so starting with that, I'm going to go over that, okay, because those are measurements, like we said, and then we're going to transfer them into coordinates, okay. So let's go over the measurements that we went over as far as the lines, okay. You don't really need to see my feet because you can kind of, I don't know if you can or not. Because when I look back, I only have like one contact because I'm trying to straighten this eye and then strengthen this eye, and I'm getting new contacts because I have astigmatism, and the contacts come in Tuesday. So when I walk back, I can't really see that well what you all see, okay? And Tuesday after Tuesday, I'll be all right. Okay, so let's go over the measurements that we had. I mean, it wasn't really measurements, we called them divisions and we called them lines, okay? And it's an abstract line and it's a vague, okay? Let me tell you, vague studies are very important. The more you understand them, the less vague they become. So it's going to be vague to you now because you're not familiar with so many things, okay? So here we go. So we have like I said, the retrocé, and you know the retrocé allows you to go like this, okay? And the retrocé is like right around here, okay? And I explained them so much in the other YouTubes. And then we have the first floor, or you can call it the floor or the first floor, okay, right here, okay. Then we have the piso, which allows you to move here. I'm not going to say, I would say joints, but I won't want to say joints because, like I said, this is an entirely different study. This deals with powers, okay? So, as far as powers are concerned, I'm not going to say that word. So, we got to get away from that. Although, there's come a time when we're going to be able to once we complete all of the powers that we learned. So, we have the piso here, allows you to move this way. Okay, and now I can say it this way, allows the powers to move this way. On the first floor, like I said, it allows the powers to move. And this allows the powers to move here. So you have a retrosate here, and you have a retrosate here. However, from the retrosate down, we also call that a room. Okay, so all the powers below the retrosate has, it's in a room, okay? And that's the first room that we made, okay? As far as the quadrants are concerned, okay? Okay, so now we have the piso, which is here. Then we have the story, which allows your powers to move, okay? And now, I'm going to make two more. Remember, I called this a tool and this a tool. The powers in here, a tool. The powers in here, a tool. Just to refresh your memory, remember powers, we're using powers because this moves, okay? We're using all the things. There's so many powers in here, and the powers, I'm just going to just do this just for people who are not familiar, but they have to go back and listen. And remember, powers, we have weight, we have the control, we can make balance, so many things. So that's what we call powers. So anyway, but we didn't do, we're going to add, the reason why I'm explaining you this, because we're going to add another line. We're going to add another division, another line. And there's going to be a line here and a line here for the tools, like this. Those lines now, the line there and the line there, remember, like this. There's one on the other tool and one on the right as an incorrect or natural tool. Okay, this is a natural tool, or the right as in correct tool. Okay, so we have those lines. Okay, now we're going, and those are just lines, but now we're going to use them as coordinates because we're going into functions. When we already explained what we did, basic functions, and we're working on functions right now. The functions that we do to make a space, okay? A space that is made by a formula that we formulate in our mind, okay? So, all those lines I stated, and we stated them a long time ago, especially in the first Precision Part 1. Now we want to use them as coordinates. However, the coordinates that we use, that I just went over, does not change. Those are the base coordinates. Now watch this. Now it's called, instead of a line, the story. There's a line there. It's the base coordinate. You have a base coordinate there. I'm going to sit down. When I sit down or when I go down, it doesn't change my base coordinate. Okay? This allows you to see how you move, how something is higher, something is lower. I'm just getting into your basic. It get more complex later on. So my my storyline stays the same. My story coordinate now, or line. I just sat down and I'm lowering. I still have the base, the coordinate. However, it's down here, but the base coordinate is up there. So that means I lowered the story coordinate. Okay, so let's go further. Now I have a line here and a line here. Now there's something else as far as a line there and a line there. We're gonna, if we go like this, it's gonna be how can I say? This is one line. We're gonna make it a subline, okay? Because it's, I can't explain why, but it's very important. It's going to be important later on. So this one has a line here, and this one also has a line here, because this one deals with angles so much. I'm just going to add the line there. Okay, so you have the line there, and you have the line there. Okay, so the tools have two lines, the line here and the line there, and then you have, I'm gonna have to call it the angle line. Okay, this is the line and this is the angle. Okay, so you have an angle on your other and an angle on your natural or right, meaning correct tool. So this is the correct tool. Maybe if I go back a little bit. So this is the correct tool, and it keeps this angle. This is the correct tool line. This is the correct tool angle, okay? Coordinate, okay? So this is gonna be a coordinate. This line is gonna be a coordinate, and this line is going to be a coordinate. This angle is going to be a coordinate. Of course, it would be referred to, I think it's not 45, 90 degree, okay? And that's good, because we will use 90 degree. So, and we have the other coordinate, okay? So the other angle coordinate, and we have the line coordinate, okay? So that one. But, okay, so we have the line coordinate, but if I go like this, okay, that line coordinate stays the same. But now you can see the movement. You know your line coordinate. You can pretty much picture from your line coordinate what movements you make. It's not important now, but it's going to be important later on, and you're going to develop that to where it's going to be really neat. Okay, so now, now this one we have a coordinate here. So we have the first floor or floor line. We have one line here and one line here. If I go like this, okay, my base coordinate for the first floor stays the same, but I moved it, so now it's here. So you can actually see that movement because of the base, because you have a base. So this is the base, and you moved it this way, so you can actually picture your movements. Okay, the retrocé. If I go like this, the retrocé stays the same. Okay, it has that line, that coordinate of the retrocé. It's line. We're going to change it to coordinate, and I put it up here. That means my coordinate has changed. It was down there and now it's here. You can pretty much see how much space it is now because you have your base coordinate. Okay? I hope you understand that. Okay? Okay, you have your piso. Okay? This is the piso. This is the line. Now it's a coordinate. Okay? It allows your powers from the top and the bottom to move. Okay? I'm going to sit down. Now you know my piso is here, but I just moved it down here. But I keep that base, so I know how far I've moved down. Okay? So that's the one thing that I want you to just keep in mind. That finishes your own coordinates. Okay, so you have your own coordinates. Your own coordinates. The lines that we went over now are referred to as coordinates. I still can say lines sometimes, it depends. But since we're going into functions and we're going into this inside a, I remember when people used to go like that. You know, like when I'm just joking. It just reminds me. I like to think about memories, old memories. But anyway, just makes it just some things I like to think about all the time. It's cute memories. Um, okay, so we did the base coordinates. Okay. So let's go. I don't know why I stopped. I just stopped for fun. I did that for fun. Um, so now we're getting into, we did the coordinates, and now we're going to get into moving inside 5 squared. Okay? There's something about numbers. They're very freaky sometimes. Sometimes they're so confusing. However, in space, we're dealing with parts of space. Okay? Space inside, like, I'm not going to say the numbers because I need you to start thinking differently. Okay, so remember the last video when I told you we're in the center, okay? And I showed you the graph paper, but now I can say that we're in the center of 5 squared, okay? 5 squared. The reason why I can say 5 squared, because it doesn't have really anything to do with numbers. You're not going to start counting 5 squared. It's just vague, okay? Your mind would just see 5 squared and that's it, okay? You can do you can physically see that you have to do the calculation to make the number that 5 squared equals. So I'm using that also as an attention getter because it kind of like keeps your bearings. So that's why I'm going to say 5 squared. And everybody should know or find out really quickly what 5 squared is. But remember when I did the last course and I said, okay, you can see A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E, or A, B, C, D, E. And as you can see A, B, C, D, E. You can see A, B, C, D, E. But remember, A, B, C, D, E does not exist. I only said A, B, C, D, E just to say something because you can't say a space so far. I mean, it's just like the numbers, okay? But only it's a little bit closer to what I want you to numbers, to the actual numbers. I'm saying actual numbers because numbers are not really numbers, but I'm not going to go there. Whenever you go into mathematics, they go through the first basic part about what numbers is. Numbers can be this, number can be this, number can be this. But I'm not going to go that far yet because it's going to like go off onto a tangent, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to express it to you as if it just started existing when it's already there, okay? So I did A, B, C, D, E. I said A, B, C, D, E so that you can see a 5. I mean, I don't want to say 5, okay? Because I'm trying to get out of numbers, but so that you can see a space here, a space here, a space here, a space here, and a space here. But let me tell you something very I'm going to explain this number in a way that's going to help you with a lot of things as far as Dance Without Music and what we're doing here. That A, B, C, D, E has a center, okay? it has a center, center, okay? I'm going to call it center, center. You don't have to hold it now, but I'm describing you this, these many spaces, okay? So these many spaces that we're talking about, and I'm reframing from numbers so that you can think differently, start thinking differently, has a center, okay? And then it has an end, and then it has an end on this side and an end on this side, okay? But at the end on this side in the center, if you look at those if you look at those two spaces, there's another center. If you look at the center in the last space, you have another center. Okay, I hope you can get this. I'm just bringing this out because we're going to use it a lot later on. But this is a characteristic of these many spaces. Okay. Okay, so it has a center. And then it has, if I go this way, it has, and from the center to this part, to the last on this side, that can be called a center. And from the last one, it's just the last one on this side, and to the last one on this side, and the center, it has a center. That's the characteristic of that number of spaces, okay? Can you see? Now your mind will be developing into the actual spaces instead of just writing symbols, okay? Okay, so now we're going to use it. We're going to use it, so I'm going to bring it out now, but it's going to be for later. But I want to say that the center, we're called the center, okay? And this is for those who followed all along, ever since I started in the beginning. It's called a center. And I used it over in precision part 1. And then I'm going to stay here, but I want to draw a point out later on. I don't know if I should. Okay, so far I'm not going to. So we have center. So on the next one over, that's on this side, on the other side, like we said, the other, you know where the other quadrant is. So I'm calling this side the other. So when we use it in our quadrants, we call this center. We call on this side the other. That's all we have to say is other. In between the center and the other is the other center or the center other. You can say either one, just as long as you say center other or other center. Center other or other center. You can say that because it can only describe one thing. And I don't want to get so much and sticky on any grammar, okay, as far as mathematics is concerned. So on this side, we call the right or the natural space. We can actually say that. So we can actually say the other space or the center other space or the other center space, okay? And then we have the center space. And then we have the right as incorrect space, and we have the right center or center right. So we say center right, it's in that center of the center space, and it's in the right space. So the only one that's kind of confusing is the right center or the center right, which is over here. It's in between these two. It's in between these two, okay? Okay? And then we have the center, and then we have the left center, and then we have the other. So I'm gonna say it from, I can actually say count. I can actually say count spaces. I'm going to count the spaces from the natural. So it would be natural, it would be natural, natural center, center center, center other, 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 center other, center center, right center, right as in correct center, and right natural or correct center. Okay? Okay, so but another thing too is that's just to get you to see things. If I don't know if you notice, but I can tell you all the vocabulary of these things. But when you actually do it, you don't think about the vocabulary, which is one trick the mind plays. Because the trick that the mind has, I'm going to say it's a trick, because once I've told you, the mind remembers it, okay? So you don't really have to bring it up. Like what I just told you, you don't have to bring it up. It's just there, okay? Okay, it's there. It's like placed there already, okay? So you can pretty much go to it without even saying it, okay? So that's going to be something that we're going to use a lot later on. Now we're going to talk about, I'm not going to say numbers, I'm going to talk about spaces, okay? So we have a, forget about how we did A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. That's to show you perspective. Perspective is like, if I'm here, I see the perspective. Because we're inside 5 square. So I see space here, space here, space here, space here, space here. And I called it A, B, C, D, E. Or else I could have said D, P, R, S, W. Okay? Then I told you the spaces here. A, B, C, D, E. It's another perspective. This is another perspective. And this is another perspective. So those are all perspectives. The reason why I said perspective, because if you notice, if you're counting spaces and you do this perspective, you already counted this one, okay? So I didn't say those perspectives for any counting or of the 5 squared. I just said it just for perspective, which is going to be also important because where we are in the 5 squared is a perspective, and we're going to change our perspective. So we finished that. Now we're going to walk inside the 5 square, okay? Now, remember, 5 squared is the formula. 5 squared equals, now we're in the center, okay? That's all we got. And I'm also going to say, I remember what I wanted to say. I'm also going to say, okay, there's one point I want to bring out. Let me see if I could bring it out. This is important to bring out. Each level that we're in, something true for this level is not true, may not be true for the former level. Like when you first start out, a lot of things that were true in our first lessons may not be true here. Not to say that that's to say that each level has a different truth, if I could say that. When you teach somebody something, you have to have levels. If you use different levels for different, like for instance, if I speak to someone who's a beginner, like something complicated, they're not going to understand it. It's good for them to say, oh, you'll be able to go here. But when I speak in levels, sometimes sometimes I pitch in things so that you can pretty much, for those who came in, because I want to get their attention also. So I'll speak in their level or someone who just came in. So that's one thing I wanted to say. And I was speaking about we were going to walk in this is the last part, walking in 5 squared, okay? And I got the point that I was going to make. We're going to say that we're completing the square, okay? Another thing too is I'm going to use mathematical terms, okay? They may change. It may change everything later on when we get to other levels. It may get more complicated. It may not be true completing. I may not be able to say completing the square in my other one for something else. It's because I'm at a certain level. But now I'm going to say we're going to complete the square, meaning we have the formula x squared, let's say, which is 5 squared, okay? And it's in our mind, okay? It's a formula, but we have to work it out. And it's right now it's incomplete. So we're just in the center, and that's the only space that we covered. As we go on, and we can't do it all in one day, we're going to complete the 5 squared, or actually we're going to actually complete the square, meaning we're going to have a pattern of functions that will go through the whole square, okay? The whole square of 5, okay? And I can say 5 because, or the whole square of A. And there's one more point before I go as far as this numbers thing, okay? When I say 5 square, okay, and I mean spaces, okay? And I'm pretty much trying to use that number to keep your attention, okay? Because we're not going to, later on we won't use numbers. So we have, as far as the space is concerned, we have A. I can say A, point blank. That's counted, okay? We counted A. But I want you to get used to doing that. In our society, we always refrain from that, but it's very important. Just like if I show you this pic here, I go A, okay? We're confused and we can't do that because we never practiced it. Because we refrain from doing that. We usually go this one, then 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 this one. And I'll use numbers to keep your attention. We'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 different numbers. But we got to refrain from that. And I use the numbers so that it'll keep your attention because you're not there yet. So I'm going to say A, and A. So A. That's the way we're going to do it because that's the real, in actuality, that's the real number picks, okay? And it will shorten, the mind will shorten it. There's another way I'm going to term it as, because when you say A, you think of an A, your mind makes an A, and then it says A again. So it kind of confuses your mind, it kind of wastes time in your mind. So there's another way I got to do it. I'm going to use the sound because we usually revert to sound. We make the picture and we revert to sound, which as we keep doing it, it makes us confused. So I can actually say, use sound and say ah. Okay? So we can say ah. It sounds really funny now, but it's very, very important. The reason why it sounds funny because we refrain from, if we see 3 things that are the same, we go, no. We see 4 things, 3 is all right, but we see 5 things that are the same, we go, no. we see 16s. No, you know what I mean? But now we're going to get out of that because we have to hold. We're going to have to hold 5 squared in our mind. Okay? So we're going to have to hold A in our mind. I mean, squared in our mind. And there's one more thing. Okay, so we can actually say okay, so I can say or else I can say or else I can say okay, whatever way you want to use, whichever way you want to do it. But as we go along, it's going to turn into something really, really neat. You have no idea how beautiful it is. And this thing is so beautiful. I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't that beautiful. So we did the Let me see. Oh, and there's another thing too. Squared is the number times a number, the same number. Now, remember, now I'm going to use numbers to keep your attention. If I say 5 times 5, okay, you were taught that, okay, 5 times 5, 5, but I can't really say it with 5. I'm going to say 5 times 2. If I say 5 times 2, you were taught that 5 times 2 is the same as 2 times 5. But it's not. With Dance Without Music, 2 times 5 and 5 times 2 is totally different. The first number, if you say, now I'm going to revert back to not using numbers. I'm going to say, if I say, how can I say? Okay, I'm going to say, okay? Is it's sort of like the subject. Excuse me. It's like the subject. And now, what do I want to do with that subject? I want to times it times 2. So then I can do 2, Oh, let me see if I can do that. Okay? So that means the subject, which is the first number I use, is going to be this time, this here, and here. So it's like I have to use numbers to keep your attention. So I was saying 5 times 2. When I say 5, I'm keeping the 5. The 5 is just the subject. It's to hold. It's like this expression is going to be about 5. And then I say 2, which means 5 here and 5 here. So that's 2. Okay? If I say 2 times 5, like, and I'm going to use our numbers too. If I say okay, we're going to hold that 2 or that okay? And then I'm going to say 5, okay? Where it's 5. So that means 2. 2 is the subject, and then I'm going to use it 5 times. So that's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So let me just explain it with numbers to keep your attention. So if I say 5 times 2, you hold the 5. The 5 is the subject. You don't put anything down. And then you say 2. That means you want 5 2 times. Okay? So if I say 2 times 5, I'm going to put down 2, hold the 2 is the subject, and then I'm going to put 2 5 times. So it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So 5 times 2 and 2 times 5 are totally different things. Okay? Because sometimes I wanted to go, it's a different pattern. Okay? I hope you make that note. So now we're doing 5 times 5. I'm saying 5 times 5 to keep your attention. Okay? Otherwise I wouldn't use the number. So I have, that's the squared. So we have 5 times 5. So we have 5. We're going to keep the 5 in. was the subject. And now I'm saying times 5. So I'm going to line up 5. And then I'm going to put 5 in each one. 5, and I'm going to do it. Ah, 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 okay? Or else I could do it with, I could say A. A, like I said, I don't use A because as soon as I say A, you're going to picture A, and then, but just to keep it concrete and to keep your attention, I'll do A. A, A. Oh, let's keep your attention with A. First, I'm doing A, B, C. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. 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 And another reason why I did it, because you're gonna have to hold that number. Okay, you have to be able to visualize all those spaces at once. So let's do it with the ah. Ah, 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 ah. 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 Okay? Or else I could have did ah, 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 ah. 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 Okay? It sounds funny, but you're going to get used to it. Also, the eyes are going to change into something intellectual, okay? To where it's just, that one's just tremendously beautiful. But you're gonna see it. I'm gonna let you see it as we develop these classes, okay? So that's done. So because I see it, I can visualize it, I can do that. But you're gonna have to be able to hold that those, in actuality, those are the real numbers, okay? Because you have to be able to go to any of the spaces, okay? However, the spaces are all even and everything. So let's walk into this 5 squared. Wow, it's getting really late. And then walk into the 5 squared, and we're going to do a little walking in the 5 squared, okay? And then that's going to be over with. Okay, so now we're in the center, okay? This is a function. We're in the cell. We're in the cell. It's something so beautiful. I don't know if you really catch it. Those who really catch it is just enormous, okay? Because you're in a cell. In your mind, you're in a cell, okay? How can I say? We just completed that function, okay? When I say completed the function, that means we are at a point to where if we move again, we're going into the next space. So we're in the center. I'm going to advance, okay? Wait, let me see. I can get my points just so there's you all should know the points. There's a point here, there's a point here, and there's a point here, okay? I could do that point. I could do the center. I could make this 3 points like that, okay? Okay. Okay, or else I can advance this way. It would be a different function. If I go like this, that's a function. If I go like from here to here, and then here like this, that's a different function, okay? Everything, if you do exactly the same thing, which we may be assigned a certain function, but right now you have to catch it, okay? Right now you don't have to worry about it, but whatever you do, if you do something different that you did in a past cell, it will be called a different function, okay? So I'm gonna pretty much stick to what we did before, okay? Okay, I just advanced I advanced in the in the space squared, in the 5 squared. I just advanced. I was in the center and I moved up 1. Okay. Now, for the sake of, okay, I'm going to advance. I'm going to advance again. Okay. Okay, now I'm here. I'm going to move this up. Now I'm here. Okay, I didn't want to move because we're in this 5 squared. Okay, so we advanced twice. So if we advance twice and we're in the center, you can see how how the whole thing will formulate in your mind. So that means that we're on the edge. Okay, I advanced, but in order to, I didn't complete the function though. Okay, and then we'll do it again. But if I go up here, then I complete the function of the second of my, we were in, how can I say it? The first one we were in the center, but we were at the end of the function. Then we went in, then I advanced once. I completed the function. I advanced twice. I completed the function now. So I'm going to go over it one more time with you. And then you should know, I'm going a bit further, so I didn't want to move it to confuse you. So now, I'm starting from the center, okay? I'm going to do the same, try and do the same exact thing in the function, so it doesn't change the function, okay? As soon as I move from this point, okay, I'm in the center, okay, and I'm gonna say it one time. I'm in the center quadrant, okay, but I'm just gonna say the center quadrant is a balance point. It's a line. A line, believe it or not, there's lines all over the place. We can balance pretty much anywhere, but we wouldn't be able to balance if it wasn't a balance point on the earth, okay? But there's a balance point. If this was a hill, everybody said I pronounced that wrong, it would be a different balance point. We had to do something, okay? But now this is supposedly flat, and we have a balance point here. So let's go back, since I did all that talking. Okay, so now we're doing this function, okay? And we also, I want to say, because the reason why I did the balance points is because we use the same point. I'm at this point, okay? I just finished the function. I actually finished the function because I have the balance points now, okay? I finished the function. As soon as I advance, I'm using the same balance points, okay, for the next function, okay? Okay, I advanced once, and I advanced again. You should now, that's going to be finished with that, okay? So, that's it. So, my question to you is, where are we in the 5 squared? Okay, very simple. Okay, but like I said, for that I can't give you the answer. You just have to know the answer because we can't express it yet. That's going to be a different time and a different lesson. But I know where we are in the 5 squared, okay? And I gotta make sure I did this right. Just go over it one more time because I want to make sure I finished the function. So here we go. We're here. Okay, I completed the function. Okay, I completed the function. Okay. I completed the function. Yes, I did it. Okay. Okay. So, and the funny part is that, not the funny part, but as far as this function is concerned, you use the same point. Okay. There's no half point. I mean, I'm using the same point at the same balance point to advance. So I have balance point. You have balance point. I don't think I can. I'm not going to say that. Just going to confuse you more. So we moved 2. So we have 5 squared equals those 3 spaces. I can call them A, B, and C. I can call them D, G, and F. But we advanced. We have 3 different cells that we completed. Now, in our mind, we have that space. It's incomplete, but we didn't complete the square. And we're going to call that actually completing the square. But we haven't completed the square, okay? And that's it. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. It's really, really something big. It went a long time. I didn't realize it's going to be that much, but it is very important. So thank you very much, and I hope you are ready for the next one.